And we're back for our daily MLB Best Bets here on the channel. Today is April 4th, and we've got a pretty good slate of baseball all day long. We got you covered for our 5 best bets. So before we get into the best bets, folks, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily MLB Best Bets here on the channel. We're taking this all the way till the end of the season. So basically till the end of October, we have daily MLB Best Bets for you here on the channel. Also, later today on the channel, we will have our NBA predictions. I believe 12 games today in the National Basketball Association, 10 or 12. One or the other, but make sure to join us later today in 4 hours from when this video drops. So at 10 a.m., our NBA best bets, our NBA best bets and predictions. Our college basketball best bets return tomorrow for 4 games on Saturday. And also, go make sure to head on over to Greedo Plays MMA for our UFC Fight Night Emmett versus Murphy predictions. That is linked in the description down below. Okay, on to the first of our 5 best bets for this April 4th slate. We start with our best player prop of the day, and we are going to Jonathan Cannon and the Chicago White Sox with their game on the road in Detroit. It's the first game of the day today on Friday, 10 o'clock, and we're immediately going with the player prop. Yesterday, we cashed with Taijuan Walker. Now, the money lines we need to get straight, all right? The money lines haven't been the best for us, but everything else, player props, NRFI, we are 7-1 with. Let's stay hot with these and pick up, obviously, some momentum with the money lines. First though, we're going player prop with Jonathan Cannon. Yesterday, we're at the Taijuan Walker player prop hit for under 4.5 strikeouts. Taijuan Walker pitched a great game, but still only 4 strikeouts, so he didn't hit. Today, we're going over 4.5 strikeouts, but for the White Sox pitcher, Jonathan Cannon. I like this line. Jonathan Cannon in his first game this season, pitched against the Los Angeles Angels. He went 5 innings, gave up 4 hits, had 5 strikeouts. Again, that covers us with this game. On top of that, they're playing the Detroit Tigers. But additionally, before we get into the Tigers, Cannon pitched 85 pitches in that game, 5 innings. I would think, first career start with the White Sox, I would be inclined to think that they would probably let him, or first career start this year, first start of the season, for the White Sox. But I would be inclined to think that they're going to let him go longer into this game. And when we look back at last year too with Cannon, I mean, he's a guy who was consistently in the month of September racking up 6-7 strikeouts a game, and that shouldn't be that tough of a line for him to get tonight. Again, he only needs to repeat what he did in his last game against the Angels. We just need 5 strikeouts up the guy. So I would think, again, with this being his second start of the year, I think they would let Cannon go deeper into this game. 85 pitches they pulled him after 5 innings. I'd expect him to go deeper in this game against the Tigers. On top of that, guys, Detroit strikes out a lot. They just do. Now, I understand they're coming off a series where they're playing potentially and probably the best pitching staff in all of the league, right? The Seattle Mariners, right? They win 2 out of 3 over in Seattle, and they face some really good pitchers in the second half of that series, right? Emerson Hancock just still needs work, obviously, but the Tigers roughed him up pretty quickly, got him out there, the first, second inning. But in their games against Logan Gilbert and Luis Castillo, they win the game against Gilbert. He goes 5 innings, does the starting Mariners pitcher, but he gets 10 strikeouts in those 5 innings. Luis Castillo, I believe, had 6 or 5 in 5 innings as well. So both those guys, found that line against the Tigers, and this is a team that's going to strike out. And Jonathan Cannon has some pretty good put away stuff. Right? You look at the Tigers, right? All around, this team will strike out. You look at guys like Spencer Torkelson in the 3 spot, batting for solid average so far this season, but he's going to strike out. Even you look at Riley Green, no strikeouts in the last game, but Green will strike out at times. You had 2 strikeouts in their last game, the Tigers' last game, for Trey Sweeney. There's a bunch of Javier Baez, if he's in the lineup tonight. There's a bunch of strikeout candidates on this Tigers squad, and I think Jonathan Cannon's able to get 5 tonight. I don't feel like it's that hard of a mark for him to hit. Again, he has not given up a run so far this season, went 5 scoreless innings against the Angels, and if he does anything similar to that first performance against Los Angeles last Saturday, I would expect him to go deeper in this game. I think we could potentially get 7 innings out of Jonathan Cannon tonight. Definitely, I would think we're going to get 6. So you just have to think, I mean, is Jonathan Cannon going to get 5 strikeouts in 6 innings? He had 5 and 5 last time. I think he's going to be able to. I get it, the Tigers lineup might be a little bit better than the Angels, but I don't know. I mean, the Angels, the Tigers, they're great because of their pitching staff, and sure, their bats are going to get hits in timely spots, but I think it's a very achievable mark for Jonathan Cannon. 4.5 doesn't feel like a lot, so we're going to go over 4.5 strikeouts for the White Sox starting pitcher today, Jonathan Cannon, minus 120 on the line for our first best bet for the earliest game of the day. Let's go to our second best bet of the video, going to the money lines, right? Okay, we need to pick up the steam with the money lines. I completely understand. Player props been doing pretty well for us, and NRFIs have been the best thing we've been doing yet this season. So our first money line today, obviously we're doing 2 in total. The first one is Athletics and Rockies. We're taking the A's on the road here in Colorado. I think, first of all, you look at the pitching matchup, Osvaldo Bido versus Ryan Feltner. I really like that for the A's. I was going to call them Oakland, but Bido had a very good first performance, and I understand. I don't know really. It was against the Seattle Mariners, but he goes 5 innings, only gives up 3 hits, gives up 1 run. I mean, that's a good outing for Bido in that game. Feltner's a guy who went 5 innings against the Devil Rays, the Rays, and gave up a home run, gave up 2 runs. Again, now at elevation, I think the Rockies, and this has been the case for many years for Colorado because they haven't had a half decent lineup. They are going to suffer and they're going to struggle at home, right? They're coming off getting swept in Philadelphia against the Phillies. Like expected, they scored 3 runs in 3 games in that series. They scored 1 run in each game that they played. But you're coming right off of that. The A's didn't play yesterday. And Colorado, I don't think the elevation is going to help them. And that, again, this has been the case for Rockies baseball for the last couple seasons now because their lineup doesn't stack up with the other teams that come into town here in Denver. But the elevation is not going to help them. I don't think they elevate the ball that well. Yes, there are some guys in the lineup. There are some guys that I do like on this team, but they are few and far in between. I like Ezequiel Tovar. I think he's a great player, but he's starting the season batting 125. Brenton Doyle can hit. He's batting 240 right now. Hunter Goodman will give you some good spots. Chris Bryant is in and out the lineup. He's not even an everyday player. Ryan McMahon started the year hot, but in back-to-back games, he struck out, I think, 5 total times for the Rockies, or 6 total times in the last 2 games. Toglia still can't get it figured out. I don't really like what this team's got. I mean, Jacob Stallings is one of their catchers. Good defense, really good defensive catcher, but hitting-wise, he's not going to do much for you. And again, this has been evident for the entire Colorado Rockies lineup over their last series against the Phillies. They got swept. Now, I know the A's pitching can get tough. I understand that. You look at that Cubs series, the first ever series in Sacramento, and they got swept. Joey Estes, gave up a bunch of runs. The Cubs ended up winning that first game in Sacramento 18-3. The second game, a 7-4 victory for the Cubs. Severino was on the bump, and then the third game they played, Jeffrey Springs was pitching against the Cubs, and the Cubs won 10-2. So maybe that first series out the A's was, just, the Mariners suck, they can't hit, and that's why the A's pitching staff looks so good. That's fine. But the thing is, I still think the Mariners' bats are better than the Rockies' bats. For as bad as Seattle is, Colorado is not any better. I don't think so. Because at least for the Mariners, you're going to get some power bats. You get Cal Raleigh, you get Julio, who can, do something sometimes, Randy Rosarena, Victor Robles. Those guys can get going. On the Rockies, I mean, it's Doyle and Tovar in the 1-2. Ryan McMahon, unloads on one and hits one out. I wouldn't have any confidence in that. And I think the A's, with their power bats, they do have some. I think they can get going. I'm looking at Lawrence Butler, who's at a cold start to the season. I'm looking at Brent Rooker. We know the power he has. Homered in the A's last game against the Chicago Cubs in the 3rd inning. I'm looking at Shea Langeliers, who has, again, been ice cold to start the year, but we know Shea has got pop. Tyler Soderstrom, I mean, when he's going, we saw the 2 home run game he had in the first game of the season up in Seattle. I mean, he's got potential to put the ball out as well. I really like the A's here at elevation. Seth Brown, the bottom of the lineup, potentially. Jacob Wilson hit his first home run in Sacramento. The first ever A's home run in Sacramento was a Jacob Wilson home run that actually would not have gotten out in any ballpark in America other than Sacramento and Sutter Health Park, but that's fine. I think the A's have sneaky pop, and I do really think everything's going to get going for them in this game because it's in Colorado. Again, the elevation does not help the Rockies at all. In fact, it hurts them. They're not going to be able to elevate the baseball. They're not going to be able to hit home runs. I think the A's are going to be able to, and I think Osvaldo Bido on the bump for the A's just limit the damage that the Rockies are potentially trying to pull off in this game. I like Sacramento or the Athletics to go on the road here and win at Coors Field. -120 feels pretty safe. I know the A's are 2-5. I think the Rockies are 1-6. The A's are a much better 2-5 though than the Rockies are 1-6. Again, I think the A's are going to turn things around. Maybe I was over-exaggerating a little bit at the beginning of the season, or maybe I was hyping them up too much when I said the A's were going to win the AL West. Okay, I still think they're going to be decent. I still think they're going to win a lot of games this year, much more than last year. So give me the A's, and I think this might be a start of a sweep in Colorado, guys. The Rockies are that bad, right? So give me the A's to win, -120 on the money line. Give me Sacramento on the road here in Denver. The Rockies are just horrible, one of the worst teams in baseball, just like, we have this game first. We'll get to one of the other worst teams in baseball. I kind of forgot this was here. NRFI, yeah, so we're going to try to keep the streak going. We're 7-1 right now. Let's go to 8-1. I know the odds aren't the best for this, but I really like this. This feels like a lock to me. Giants, Mariners, NRFI. It's -135. If you get an NRFI or a NRFI with the Seattle Mariners and it's, better odds than minus 140, you take it. You just do. Okay, I don't trust the Mariners to score. That's just not what they do, at least early. Julio's batting 182 this season. I like Victor Robles a lot, but he's batting 200, and Cal Raleigh's batting 125. Those guys, and Randy's batting 170. The only problem with this is, sure, these guys have power. They are playing in the most pitcher-friendly park in all of baseball in San Francisco, California, known as Oracle Park. So normally, the one fear of the Mariners is, oh crap, one swing by Julio, one swing by Cal, one swing by Rosarena. That can end the NRFI for you. There is no fear of that, though, because they're playing in San Francisco. So unless they really get a hold of one of these, you got to hit it out in right field for, Cal or, J-Rod or Rosarena have to pull it to left. But especially for Raleigh, who I think is usually our biggest threat in all of this because he's a guy who can give you 20-plus home runs every single season, I don't really think there's a danger of him homering. So you look at the Giants. This team has surprisingly been very good this year. They're 5-1, which is kind of crazy. The entire NL West is great, but then you look at the Padres and the Dodgers, who are undefeated. I know the Dodgers are playing the Phillies today. I'm staying away. The Phillies, I believe, swept the Dodgers last season, but the Dodgers are just crazy this year. I was thinking Phillies plus money, but we're going to stay away from that game today. We probably will visit it at some point throughout the weekend. The Giants in the last game scored 2 runs in the first inning against the Astros. They scored 3 in the second inning against Houston as well. But anyways, we're going to go with Luis Castillo on the mound. We're okay. And I know what you're thinking. Wait, Luis Castillo just pitch Wednesday. Yeah, they're pitching Luis F. Castillo tonight. Great. It's a bullpen game for the Mariners, right? Emerson Hancock got sent down after his last start, which was abysmal, obviously, against the Tigers. I'm surprised they didn't give him one more game. Guys, Luis F. Castillo, has not pitched in the major leagues, from what I'm seeing here, since 2022. Okay. You're pitching your first ever game in 2 years on the Giants opening day, obviously, in San Francisco. I don't think he's got the worst stuff. I'm not sure if they're going full bullpen or not. But if I'm not mistaken, he did not pitch last year. That's what ESPN's got at least. But, we just got to put together 3 outs, right? We got to put together 3 outs. Obviously, the Mariners feel somewhat confident in their guy getting them through this game. And look what the Giants got early in the lineup. Okay, there's guys who can hurt you, but we're playing at the most pitcher-friendly park in all of baseball. So that's the main backing I have for you in this game. If we get Oracle Park NRFIs, we're taking it, especially with, the Mariners are batting in the top half of the inning. They're not scoring, okay? I know, and we'll get to Justin Verlander in a second. I don't think they're scoring. We had JV earlier this year with the strikeouts prop. We'll talk about Verlander in full length in a second. But you get the Giants in the top half of the inning. In the bottom half, all right. You get the Mariners in the top half and the Giants in the bottom half. Okay. The Giants, they're going to be sending out Heliot Ramos. We know how good he is, but big strikeout guy at times, right? He can hit the ball hard, but he struck out 4 times in the last game. Willie Adames, batting 130. Don't care. Wilmer Flores had the big hit, obviously, on opening day against the Cincinnati Reds, the go-ahead home run, but he's batting 227 this year. And then there's Matt Chapman. There is potential for a home run, obviously. Especially with Chapman and Flores, if they pull one into deep left, or Chapman and Heliot. But I'm okay with this. They're all righty-righty matchups that they're getting. That Luis F. Castillo will get, and it's his first start in 2.5 years. You gotta think he's somewhat, amped for this game. I don't know, that's just some bad reasoning, I'm not gonna lie, but it's the Giants, and it's at Oracle Park. I feel more than okay with this. At the same time, Justin Verlander. Guys, I think we're forgetting that Justin Verlander is, not actually washed yet, and we said it when we took his over on strikeouts. We had, I think, 4.5 his first start in Cincinnati, and he got 5, so we hit. But I said this then, and I'm gonna say it again now, he's not that washed, actually. I know he didn't have a great year for the Astros last season, but this was the best move Justin Verlander, a 42-year-old Justin Verlander, can make for his career. He's probably going to pitch 2 more seasons so he can get those 300 wins, but you're pitching in a pitcher-friendly park with a team that I don't know where the Giants think they are right now. They're not rebuilding, but they think they can kind of compete, but at the same time, unless they get some miracle like they got in, 2022, they're not going to be a playoff team this season, I don't think, just because of their division. But it's a team that Verlander can compete for, right? And he will make a start every 5 days, so you can run up those numbers, obviously, for, his, Hall of Fame talk, even though JV's going to be a Hall of Famer, regardless of what happens this season. But anyways, right, he's not that bad still, and he can get us through a first inning. I really believe so, especially against this team. Yeah, he's going to get us through this Mariners 1-2-3. Victor Robles is not doing anything. I think, honestly, Robles is our biggest threat. I'm going to be honest. Because Robles getting on and then stealing second base would be trouble. But I think JV gets Robles. Julio, I'm not scared of. I'm just not. He's batting 180. He's a great baseball player. But, man, he's been ice cold at the plate. And he was last year as well. Cal Raleigh, he can pull the ball. But he's going to be batting from the left side of the plate. Verlander being a right-handed pitcher, that means Raleigh's batting left in this matchup. I don't think he hits one out of Oracle. Worst case, we get a double there. And then a Rosarena. We're not scared of Randy Rosarena. And if it gets to Mitch Garver, I'm going to laugh because Mitch Garver's horrible. And that's an easy strikeout for Verlander. Mitch Garver, I don't know how that guy's still a starting catcher in the MLB. He can't hit anymore. So this feels fine for me, guys. I'm okay with this. Again, the biggest threat is Luis Castillo. Luis F. Castillo, I understand. But we're giving him Oracle Park. Ball doesn't really fly in San Francisco. It is a day game, but if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's supposed to be a little bit cold tomorrow. So ball cold today. Ball shouldn't really fly that much. And it's Oracle Park, so it's hard to get out here. I'm okay with Luis F. Castillo picking up a job for us here. Give me NRFI or Nerfy, Giants, Mariners. Let's go to 8-1 on these. Verlander, Castillo, Giants, Mariners, -135. Let's do it. Okay, so we mentioned one of the worst teams in baseball earlier with the Rockies. Here's the other one, the Washington Nationals. Okay, 3.5 runs. We need 4 runs today. Can the Nationals get us 4 runs? I think so. Okay, games at National Park this season, they've gotten this 2 out of 3 games. Okay? So they're hitting at a 66% rate this season in games in DC at Nationals Park. I'm going to be a realist here, guys. I think there's a very good chance the Nationals get blown out tonight. Okay, so in a game where they might get blown out, they're going to see the back end of a Diamondbacks. They're going to see the bad part of a Diamondbacks bullpen. Late in the game, there's potential to score runs. Brandon Pfaadt on the mound tonight for the Diamondbacks. He gave up 3 runs in his first start at Chase Field against the Cubs. I don't think the Nationals are going to do that. I'm going to be a realist here. I think they're going to get like 1 or 2 runs off of him. But then that leaves last 4 innings for the Nats to get 2 runs against a back end of a against a back end of a bullpen that I don't think's that great. And at the same time, I have the feeling the Nationals are going to lose like 9-5 today. I feel like that's what that's going to be. I think Jake Irvin's great. He had a decent first start against the Phillies. I'm still scared of Jake Irvin in terms of what he's able to do because his velo is kind of down. It was better in the Phillies game, but they roughed him up. 7 hits, 2 runs, getting limited the damage. But I have a feeling this game might get away from us with Jake Irvin on the mound. I like Jake Irvin a lot, by the way. But with that being said, if the game's a blowout, okay, it kind of actually helps the Nationals' bats. Against Pfaadt himself, I believe Nathaniel Lowe is 3 for 6 or 4 for 8 career against Pfaadt. So maybe we see something. Lowe's been all right for us this season. The Nationals just piss me off as a whole, right? I watch every game, every year for this team. I've been doing it for a while now, and it just irritates me. CJ Abrams is great. We need to extend that guy immediately. Nathaniel Lowe's been okay. He's batting 300. It is what it is. Keibert Ruiz has been amazing. He's batting 381 this season. He's been our best guy by far. Dylan Cruz is now 0 for 18. So only the Nationals and Darnell Coles can ruin the greatest collegiate baseball player of all time, right? But at the same time, guys, Dylan Cruz in that they gave him an off day in the second game of their set in Toronto. In the finale of that series, Dylan Cruz did go 0 for 4. 2 of those could have easily been base hits, though. He hit the ball very hard. It was like 90-something and 100 off of the bat for Dylan Cruz in those 2 ABs. Just Bo Bichette made a nice play. And Cruz hit one back up the middle, too. Just got caught, I believe, or it was a ground out. I'm okay with Dylan Cruz. I think he's going to be fine. If he struck out 4 times in that game, I'd be concerned. But he hit the ball really hard, hit it really well. I think Cruz is slowly getting his, confidence back. So I think we're okay with Dylan Cruz. I think he's going to start putting the ball in play, obviously, like he was in Toronto, and he's going to get a hit one of these nights, and he's going to fully, be back. Josh Bell out the 5 concerns me, just does. I like Josh Bell a lot. I have a Josh Bell jersey. I'm a big fan of the book club, but God, he's batting .091, and one of those hits is a home run, obviously. The other one was a swinging bunt at the end of the game against the Jays 2 days ago. And the Nationals, again, this is why we're not picking the money line. We're just taking runs over because I think there is potential tonight against Pfaadt. I don't care about them. I do care about them winning the game. Obviously, I'm going to throw something every day. I throw something in my room every day when they don't win. But anyways, We're not taking their money line because, I mean, the Nationals just might have the most incompetent coaching staff ever. I respect Davey Martinez. I like Davey Martinez for what he did in 2019, but my goodness, I mean, why are we sending a runner in the top of the ninth against the Blue Jays? You're down by 2. You got runners in the corners. Alex Call has been one of our better bats this season. You take the bat out of his hand to try to steal second base. You get thrown out. Game over. We don't even know if we were going to have a chance to win. So it's just, I don't know. Until the Nationals actually win another game, I'm not going to pick their money line. I hope it's today, but I'm a realist, and I legitimately think the Nationals might start the year 1-11. So we just have to find other ways to be successful here, and I think this is something where we can be very successful. Over 3.5 runs should be fine. Again, I think once we get into this Diamondbacks bullpen and this game's a blowout, hey, maybe we get a position player pitching. Maybe the game's like 15-3 at the end, and here comes Eugenio Suarez to pitch. Josh Bell hits a home run in garbage time. Like, something like that. Again, I'm not banking on something stupid like that happening, but I do think once we get in the bullpen, this game's going to be over. The D-backs are going to be throwing their lower end guys, and the Nats will get over this 3.5. They're not going to win today, unfortunately. I hope they do, but probably not, and I'll just be pissed off. So, Nationals team over on runs. Okay, final best bet of the video. Going to our last money line, we're going to Guardians and Angels over here in Anaheim, California. Gavin Williams versus Jose Soriano tonight on the bump. I know Soriano in his first start of the season was great. Goes 7 innings against the White Sox, gives up 2 hits, shuts them down. That's the White Sox, though. The White Sox pitching, we talked about it earlier with Jonathan Cannon, and there's some good guys in that rotation now, right? Sean Burke and company. That's the best part about the White Sox. Their bats still suck, so I don't care. And yes, they have potential to go off, but, I'm not going to, unless Soriano looks great in this game against the Guardians, then I'm not going to put too much under that, all right? If he performs against the Guardians, I will give him a lot of credit because the Guardians did get shut down in San Diego, but now they get to play in Anaheim. It's a lot easier of a matchup, and the thing is, it's not like the Guardians were hitting against the Padres. They just couldn't find their power, and they couldn't get anything across home plate. Like, they had 8 hits in that last game against the Padres. They scored 2 runs, right? I mean, you know what we're going to say about this lineup, right? Steven Kwan, one of the best contact hitters in the game. He's batting .350 already this season, right? I mean, that guy is one of the best hitting for average players in the entire league, if not the best guy, right? J-Ram is one of the best players in baseball. I kind of thought he was going to finally win the AL MVP this season. It's going to be Aaron Judge, let's just be honest, because he plays in a Mickey Mouse Stadium. I'm joking. Am I, though? No, but I think J-Ram's still great, right? He's batting .300 this year. He's just not going to win MVP over Aaron Judge, obviously. From there, the lineup does kind of fall off a cliff. But, I mean, there's some solid guys. Manzardo's solid, right? Carlos Santana at his best is good. I like Nolan Jones back on this team. Lane Thomas I like a lot. He just needs to get going, and he doesn't really hit right-handed pitching all that well. Hits left-handed pitching very well, as we saw in the ALDS against Tarek Skubal, the grand slam to win the game in Game 5 in Cleveland. But, I think the Guardians are going to be okay here. I'm still not wowed by anything the Angels do. I get it. They're 4-2 now. Wow. They beat the Cardinals, who are a retirement home, kind of, but with some young talent. I don't rate the Cardinals at all. Anaheim was able to score a lot in that series. They're getting Gavin Williams tonight in his first start against Kansas City. He went 5 innings, 2 runs. Williams is okay. He's not going to wow you, but he'll get it done. And I think the Guards will be able to win a game like about 6-5 in this one. I think Williams is going to give up some runs, don't get me wrong. I just think the Guardians are the better team. Mike Trout has not been good this year. Not yet. He's batting .143, hit a home run in the Angels Guardians game, right? But he still hasn't done Mike Trout activities yet. Taylor Ward's all right in the leadoff spot, right? I mean, Jorge Soler, just a power threat. Sean Uel, Yon Moncada. There's guys. They're still starting Joe Adele, who's actually not been the worst yet this year. I like the value here. -115 for the Guardians, who we know are the better team, who we know have the better lineup. And I think we just might be dealing with some fool's gold here with Jose Soriano. I'm just going to be honest. I think he had a really good first start. That's against the White Sox. Can you do it in back-to-back starts against a way better lineup this time with guys like Kwan, like Ramirez, like Thomas in the lineup? That's going to be a little bit difficult, I think, personally. Again, the Guardians weren't that bad in San Diego. They just couldn't hit the ball out the park, and they couldn't score with runners in scoring position. They couldn't get hits with runners on base. They should be fine. I think their luck should turn around eventually here, and they should be able to beat the Los Angeles Angels here. So give me the Guardians to win in Anaheim, California, -115. I just need Gavin Williams to give us 5-6 innings, 2 runs. We'll be okay. Guardians money line on the road here in Anaheim. So folks, thank y'all for watching our 5 best bets here for the MLB here on Friday, April 4th. If you haven't yet though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. We'll be back later today for our NBA predictions and best bets as well. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.